I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And welcome in. Good Monday afternoon to you all. It is September the 13th. This is your early line. Matt Musso alongside Mario Jerez. To my right, Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp on the audio and video boards, respectively. Mario, a lot to get into today. We've already heard from Coach O as he's had his Monday press conference. You heard that earlier on this station during Hunton and Hill. We have to recap the McNeese game. There's plenty of updates to get to with LSU football. The Saints put the NFL on notice Sunday afternoon. Some injury updates to get to there, but going to be a lot of positivity when we talk Saints. We'll recap our betting weekends, both Mario and I, with a winning week. We'll tell you about that. Plenty of early lines to get to. This LSU opens at 20.5 over Central Michigan. The Saints open -3 over the Carolina Panthers and much more. Also, very interesting betting trends that happen in week 1 of the NFL and week 2 of college football. We'll get to all of that, and Tyler Moody will close out the show as well, coming off a 3-in-1 day the last time he gave out picks here on Early Line. But we start, Mario, with some news out of LSU football, and it involves running back John Emery. Coach O, today at his weekly press conference, says John Emery's out for the year due to academics.
Yeah, John Emery is out the year, and my saying he's unavailable. Now, things could change. If they do change, we'll play him. But right now, he's unavailable. Could they change? Yeah, but that's out of my control.
So, I mean, by now you've probably heard. If not, it sounds like John Emery somehow was registered in the wrong classes, and none of the list long of people who handle in compliance, academics, scheduling caught it, and he is out for the year, and that is just incredibly disappointing and wholly unacceptable.
Yeah, and we should note that our buddy Jacob Hester tweeted a couple minutes ago, host of Off the Bench here on ESPN Baton Rouge 104.5, saying that the John Emery, quote, was signed up for the wrong class, unquote, narrative is completely false. The academic issue Emery is going through isn't because of a, quote, wrong class that was taken this summer. Okay, regardless of what it is, this is absolutely inexcusable. Whether you want to blame John Emery, whether you want to blame the LSU administration, or whatever you want to do, this is somebody who was a superstar as a recruit in high school, somebody who is going to be counted on big time this season, especially with what's unfolded in the first 2 weeks, and now somebody who's not going to be on the field possibly for the rest of the season. I have no idea how this happens, Musa. We're going to learn, I guess, more about the specifics of it as we go in this week. But at the end of the day, this is a huge punch in the stomach if you're an LSU fan, and just not what you want to see at all.
It is, because John Emery's one of your better running backs, and that's been such a position of focus, not just during the offseason, but really throughout the year. I mean, look, we have it on the rundown to talk about the young running backs we saw Saturday night against McNeese State, and Armani Goodwin and Corey Kiner, and honestly, people were very pleased with what they saw, including Coach O, and we'll let you hear about it. But it's just, anytime you've talked about the LSU running back position, John Emery's been at the center of it because of his ability, and the fact that they're not going to have him for the season right now it's just, honestly, it's another hit that LSU didn't need.
Yeah.
Because sure, you might get Trey Bradford back this week, sure. You saw a couple of big plays in the running game, but mostly it was unsuccessful again on Saturday night. And going forward, you can expect a little bit more of the same, but you needed all hands on deck, and that is arguably the best bullet in your gun, best weapon you have, and now you're without him.
Yeah, I mean, didn't somebody say that?
And for something that, whether it's wrong classes or whatever, something that was preventable. I think we can all agree on that. Whatever the reason is, it's preventable, because if it wasn't, you'd see this happen a lot more. But the fact of the matter is, you don't see this happen at the Power 5 level.
Yes.
Because it is preventable and just should never happen.
Even at smaller places than the Power 5, I agree with you. That's absolutely inexcusable. But a few weeks ago, I forgot who it was, if it was a coach or a player, but somebody said that they can see Jake Peets utilize John Emery the same way he utilized Christian McCaffrey in Carolina because of those pass catching skills that you were talking about. And now we might not even potentially get a chance to see it. And John Emery's career has been interesting because, as I said, top 5 running back coming out of high school, Destrehan High School down there near New Orleans. And the first year at LSU, he's a freshman. He has trouble staying on the field because he can't do things like pick up blitzes or know where to get lined up. That's fine. He was a freshman. LSU went undefeated and won the national championship anyway. Sophomore year, did not have a very good year statistically, but did have some good moments. And in the context of LSU's defense being terrible and their offensive line supposedly being a better unit this year, you would have think he had an opportunity to break out. But again, one thing would be if he got hurt and didn't get that opportunity. But this is something, as you said, just absolutely inexcusable. I am really curious to see the specifics of how it happened, but just terrible for LSU and a lot of wasted potential for John Emery.
Let's get a little bit into the game from Saturday night. I mean, we could start. There were some good things that happened. I mean, the majority of them were on defense. LSU did what our whole thing leading up to the game, Mario, all week was, look, you're not going to really learn anything about LSU, but this is an inferior opponent. So if you're a good team, like we've heard over and over again, good teams beat up on these inferior opponents. The defense held up their end of the bargain. They held McNeese under 150 total yards for the game. They were under 100 yards at halftime. LSU had 8 sacks, 16 tackles for a loss. I think another 3 or 4 quarterback hurries. Mason Smith had a breakout game with 3 sacks. Andre Anthony was a menace in the backfield once again. So communication was better. Overall, they were in the right spot just about all night on defense. That was the positive. The negative, unfortunately, was, again, your offensive line and an inability to run the football and an inability to protect the quarterback. The offensive line as a whole, you were without 3 starters, so you understandably expected a drop-off. But what's so disconcerting to me about it is it just continues the narrative that's been going on for 3 years, Mario, that why is the quality of depth not there along the LSU's offensive line? Why have you not been able to establish a bit of a 2 deep? And you saw those young guys go out there and they couldn't block McNeese State.
Yeah, and some people are using that as an excuse. You know, LSU's down 3 starters in this game. But as we've been talking about all offseason, I think the departure of Dare Rosenthal wasn't so significant just because of his play on the field, but because of his status as an offensive lineman and LSU's lack of depth, right? And eventually you're going to get guys hurt and you're going to count on these young guys. That's why what you're saying is so critical in this development, and it just was not there. It's very disappointing to see LSU not being able to run the ball better against a team like McNeese. I mean, 4 yards per carry, or could not even average 4 yards per carry, less than that, on 30 runs against McNeese State. After 3 quarters, LSU had 6 runs gain more than 3 yards. This is against FCS competition, regardless of who's in there. Your 7th, 8th, and 9th offensive lineman would be somebody who McNeese State would probably be thrilled to recruit. And the fact that you can't get a push against that group is very, very concerning going forward.
And the 4 yards per carry average on the game includes 3 runs that went for 20 yards or more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that shows you, like, how much of a struggle it was for LSU. You had 3 runs go for 20 or more yards, and you still only averaged 4 yards per carry. The rest of it just was running into a wall. But it is concerning. But for me, like I said, it's concerning more long-term. It shows the utmost importance of why LSU has to stay healthy along the offensive line, and that's already been a struggle. It was a struggle in camp. It's already been a struggle in the regular season. It's one thing to do it against McNeese, but if Florida's rolling in here in a few weeks and you're down 2, 3 starters on the offensive line, that's going to go very poorly for LSU that night or afternoon when they suited up, because the quality of depth just, unfortunately, it isn't there. Young running backs, before we move on to one other thing on the offense, I really like Armani Goodwin. I think that is the type of back they are looking for in that off. I mean, the first time he touches the ball Saturday, he goes off left tackle for 20 yards. Yeah. I mean, you saw the burst. You did see more diversity in the run game. You saw some jet sweeps. You saw running the ball outside, inside. They did mix that up. Hopefully more of that going forward, because that was something that was welcome to see. But, man, Goodwin, and then you add in his ability to potentially catch the ball out of the backfield. He feels like he could be a game breaker at the running back position, and I like the change of pace that Corey Kiner provides along with him as well. That 23-yard touchdown run he had, where, I mean, he just went straight up the middle. I mean, that guy can run. He runs behind his pads very, very well.
Yeah, the jury's still out on both of the freshmen for me. They both obviously have a lot of potential, and Kiner and Goodwin both had good moments, as you said. And I like you bringing up that first touch for Goodwin in his career, going for 21 yards, because LSU did show a little bit more creativity in the run game. That was a play where LSU pulled a couple of offensive linemen, which they have not been doing very much in the last couple of seasons, really. But regardless of who's back there at running back, and these guys will get their opportunities now, both Kiner and Goodwin. But this offense will be handcuffed as long as this offensive line is playing at the level that it's doing. And all these other complaints I'm hearing about LSU's offense, the tempo, Max Johnson's play, none of that is going to be able to be fixed really to the level that LSU fans want until this offensive line gets better. Maybe some of that stuff can be masked. Max Johnson can play better. The defense can be more together, which they were this week. But that offensive line is holding this team back big time, and they're going to continue to hold them back. I mean, McNeese State, this is a front that allowed 4.8 yards per rush against Western Florida the week before, which is a D2 opponent. So the reps that these guys are getting, Martinez and others, I think are going to help them, and they will play better down the road. But I don't know if LSU's offense will ever get anything going because this offensive line is handcuffing them right now.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about tempo today at Coach O's press conference, a lot of it dealing with the check with me aspect. And I understand, that is slowing down, but for me, a lot of it boils down to pressure. I mean, you have to be able to get some type of positive momentum on offense to get that. I mean, what are you going to do? Take a 7-yard loss on first down, get up, hurry up, and go snap the ball and run a 2nd and 17 play? I mean, that can't happen. It doesn't matter if it's Max, Garrett, Maya. It doesn't matter who's back there right now. They can't block anybody very well. So I don't want to get so bent out of shape about McNeese because you were down 3 starters, and for me, that's more long-term, the issues it shows with the offensive line and the lack of quality depth. But if we're going to talk tempo, you do need tempo to this offense because there's no rhythm, though, first and foremost. In order to have tempo, you have to have a rhythm. They have no rhythm, and for me, that's because of pressure.
Yeah, and the defense was a little bit better. I mean, 8 sacks as a team, including 3 for Mason Smith. He looks like a man amongst boys right now. Some of that stuff is encouraging. I liked how a couple of the wide receivers played, including Trey Palmer. Keyshawn Butte is a bona fide superstar. He continues to pad his stats. 5 touchdowns in the season.
5 touchdowns, 2 games, yeah.
So there's a lot of good for LSU, I think, in this game. The defense, I think, will improve significantly as the season goes under Durante Jones, but O-line, still not good.
A couple more updates from Coach O today on at his Monday press conference. We mentioned Armani Goodwin. Goodwin did leave the game. Looked like he kind of turned his ankle a little bit. Coach O, this is number 6, Casey. Coach O updated the status of Armani Goodwin as well as Trey Bradford.
Yeah, I do believe that Armani Goodwin's questionable for this week. And it's a shame because I think he's an outstanding running back. Trey Bradford, as I know, will be eligible for the game. We have to see how the week goes. And hopefully we can play him this week.
So, I mean, that's all. I mean, Trey Bradford's great news. He says as far as he knows, Trey Bradford will be eligible, and we're going to see if we can't get him to play. That's a remarkably quick process to get him to go through the waiver if indeed he's eligible to play this week. And we went through all the reasons last week why, at least I know, we thought that's a upgrade for LSU at running back. Hearing now Armani Goodwin questionable is a little bit of a bummer, but look, man, I liked so much what I saw from him Saturday. I want him healthy for SEC play, and especially if you get Trey Bradford back this week, I think that kind of offsets. Then there's the status of the offensive linemen who are out. This is going to be number 12, Casey. You, of course, had no Austin Deculus, no Chasen Hines, and no Cam Wire. Will those 3 guys be back on Saturday versus Central Michigan?
Yeah, I expect to get Jason Hines back for sure. Austin Deculus, maybe. We have to see how the week goes on. And Cam Wire is out for the game.
So it looks like you're still potentially going to be without your starting 2 tackles this weekend against Central Michigan. Cam Wire definitely. Jason Hines should be back as well. One more, Coach O did say that Sage Ryan will start practicing today, and they'll see if he'll be eligible this weekend. But he will be back at practice starting today. LSU, they opened up as a 20.5-point favorite versus Central Michigan this Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. The Chippewas, man, they've gotten off to a pretty hot start so far. Took Missouri down to the wire and dominated some inferior opponent last week. So 20.5 is your spread. LSU, Central Michigan, 6:30 Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. We will grab our first break, come back, switch it over to the NFL. The black and gold, they aren't going anywhere. Stick around. It's Early Line, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Mario and Musso, the Early Line. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive
on Tuesdays Off the Bench. We continue to break down the Saints' dominant win. The latest from the SEC and the NFL, as well as the latest Saints news with our guy Nick Underhill and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The challenges back home are far greater than our team getting on a plane and playing an away game or having to relocate. The challenges back home are far more significant. And hopefully today was a good break from everything else that people have been focused on.
New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton there, as his team is now 1-0 in the post-Drew Brees era. A surprising scoreboard to many around the nation. The Saints crushed the Green Bay Packers 38-3 in Jacksonville, Florida. The game was a move to Jacksonville due to the effects of Hurricane Ida, and we heard a lot about the distractions for the team and Jameis Winston easing himself in the first start and the Saints defense not being the same unit that they were last year, but none of that was apparent in this game as the Saints destroy the Packers. A loss that both Aaron Rodgers and head coach Matt LaFleur called embarrassing, humbling, and I'm trying to find the adjectives to find to find out how to classify Jameis's first start here, Musa, because I don't know if you can script one better. He becomes the first player in NFL history to throw 5 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions in his first start for his new team. And in this game, despite the low output of passing yards, Jameis helped orchestrate consecutive 15-play touchdown drives. And that was the first time that's been done in the NFL since September of 2000. So a lot of people see the 148 passing yards and think, that's not too much yardage. If you were just looking at this on the surface, but to go for 5 touchdowns, to play with the efficiency that he did, even the plays where he threw the ball out of bounds, I thought he had excellent recognition. This is just one game. We'll see if he can build on it. But the growth in Jameis Winston's game is apparent. And if you're a Saints fan, I think you should be excited for what you have at quarterback.
Mario, it's not often that a team wins by 35 points and you still say it probably wasn't even that close. The Green Bay Packers had 3 possessions in the entire first half on offense. 3. They had 2 in the third quarter, and both of them resulted in interceptions.
Jeez. It's crazy efficiency.
That is domination. A statement was made yesterday in Jacksonville. The Saints put the NFL on notice that they are going nowhere, that they are not just a playoff team. What you saw yesterday, and it is just one game, but what you saw yesterday is the Saints announced themselves still as contenders, not just a playoff team. And let's look at it. They won the same way they've been winning for 3 years. Jameis Winston was great. His decision-making was phenomenal all day. Whether it was, and it wasn't even just him throwing the ball away. It was him making something out of nothing with his legs to keep drives alive multiple times.
Even his bad plays were good. That's what I was saying.
I mean, he was great, but he still only attempted 20 passes.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
The game plan dictated it. I mean, we were talking before the show that you run the ball 39 times for a total of 171 yards. This is the polar opposite of what we're talking about with LSU in the prior segment. A 39 run-to-pass ratio compared to 21 passes, 39 to 21. That's pure domination, and that's leaning on what, in my opinion, is the best offensive line in the NFL. And Alvin Kamara does a good job efficiency-wise, 20 carries with 83 yards, but Tony Jones also spelling him 11 carries with 50 yards. That game plan that offensive philosophy combined with the Saints' defense as a game plan can win this group a lot of games again.
It's the same way they've been doing it. He only attempted 20 passes. So that makes me even more excited because I think you did see them ease him in a little bit. But because his decision-making was so on point, he was able to still go out there and throw 5 touchdowns and not turn the ball over at all. So once Jameis was, and you saw a little bit of everything in his game, right? You saw the ability to scramble. You saw the arm strength with the deep ball to Deontay Harris, which, by the way, I love that they called that play up 31-3. Sean Payton, that was the leave no doubt play, and it worked to perfection. You saw the short and intermediate passing game with Jameis. It was everything, but they did ease him in, and that gets me excited because now, once he gets fully comfortable in this offense, and you pair it with that defense, you're looking at a Saints team that can be really, really good, and a Saints team that is a contending team, not just for the playoffs, but for the whole thing.
That will get Michael Thomas back at some point.
That will get Michael Thomas
back.
back.
We'll get David Onyemata back at some point as well. And a quarterback that's going to play with a lot more confidence. I mean, think of the Fat Musso that every wide receiver that started this game for the Saints was an undrafted player. And their offensive line, I think, is the strength of that offense. And I love Sean Payton's philosophy of going run heavy. I think a lot of times early in games, even when they're trailing, when they're not trailing, he gets too pass happy. And that was with Brees. With Jameis Winston, somebody who's still learning the offense, somebody who has not played with an offensive line of this caliber before, nor with a running back of Alvin Kamara's caliber. That's really exciting. And I think that's the way, obviously, the game dictates it, that you want to go. You need to be a run heavy team if you're the Saints.
Yeah, maybe I should clarify. I'm not unhappy at all with the game plan. Like, that's not I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant. And if anything, what I was trying to convey there is it gets me even more excited for the future because once Jameis is fully comfortable in it, you open it up. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. I'm ecstatic.
Sky's the limit. We'll get into MVP odds and comeback player of the year odds for Jameis a little later because they're definitely going to fluctuate.
We were already kind of talking about that comeback player of the year last week too, plus 1,000. So now it ain't going to be at plus 1,000 anymore.
No, sir. And before we talk defense, which, oh my goodness, Dennis Allen in his 5th season, still continuing to do great things. I wanted to give some props to Cesar Ruiz.
Thank you. I was about to say, can we go offensive line real quick?
Yes. He slid over to center after Eric McCoy got hurt early in the game, and he did a great job. And remember, that was his natural position coming out of Michigan, and the Saints coaches even tinkered with possibly playing him there and kicking Eric McCoy out to guard. But McCoy has been so good at center that they've elected not to do that. But Cesar Ruiz, who had some really rough moments as a rookie, deserves big props for what he did on Sunday.
I thought Throckmorton played well at right guard.
Yes.
I mean, that was a heck of an opportunity for him to get, and I thought he handled that very well to go along with Ruiz. It's a dominant offensive line, but it's also a deep offensive line. You saw that on Sunday, and look, they're going nowhere.
Man, whoever's coaching the Saints offensive line, I mean, every year they seem to have this utility guy that can just step in and do great. It was a Throckmorton. Before that, it was Cameron Tom. Before that, it was Senio Clemente. And these guys go to other teams and don't perform as well. So the Saints offensive line coaching deserves a lot of credit.
I think a lot of people thought the Saints would hang around in that game and it would also be close. There were some, I'm sure, that even thought the Saints would win that game. I don't think anybody foresaw that.
No, not at all. I didn't. I'll tell you that much. Talking some defense here, the big story has to be Paulson Adebo. I mean,
so good.
Here's a guy who admitted in the last couple of weeks that he had nerves playing in NFL games and preseason games, especially after not playing football at all last year for Stanford. But he comes out, he intercepts Aaron Rodgers in his very first game. He has some really good moments in the open field, making tackles. We'll see what the status is with Marshawn Lattimore going forward and how much time he'll miss with this injured thumb. But the play of Paulson Adebo in the preseason and culminating yesterday makes you feel a lot better about the cornerback position if you're a Saints fan.
And now you'll get Bradley Roby back this week too. So I mean that was really one of the crux of my concerns about the game Sunday was the cornerback position, at least this week. Not necessarily going forward in the future, but this week, because you were going to see a lot of Paulson Adebo. You're going to see a lot of Desmond Trufant. You'd have Marshawn Lattimore, but how healthy was he going to be? He had missed some practice or was limited in practice for much of the week. Turns out he was pretty healthy, but then the thumb injury happened during the game. But Paulson Adebo stepped up enough for really, it felt like the whole cornerback room. He was running stride for stride and covering Lazard, covering Adams. I mean, I know they had the pass interference call on him, but I mean, even that was almost borderline. He barely turned the receiver with his left arm. So I mean, he went out there, and that was about as good of a rookie debut for a guy who, Mario, didn't play last year at Stanford. He opted out. I mean, that was his first time playing a regular season football game in 2 years, and it was his first time ever in the NFL.
Yeah.
He was great, man.
He was awesome, and he'll play alongside Marshawn Lattimore, who real quick today agreed to a new deal worth $97.6 million, including $68 million guaranteed. That's a 5-year extension. So he'll play alongside Paulson Adebo whenever he returns from this injury. Another big story for the Saints defense has to be Quan Alexander, who played in 60% of snaps in this game, 34 snaps for the New Orleans Saints. And this is a guy who tore his Achilles less than 9 months ago. And not only is he playing, but he's out there playing really well. I thought on a couple of drives where he made multiple tackles, he was looking like the old Quan Alexander. And the Saints defense was playing at that level that they were playing at last year before he got hurt. So I love what Zach Bond is doing. I feel a little bit bad for him because he's done such a good job acclimating to this new position of weak side linebacker. And now he's essentially lost his spot because Quan Alexander is back healthy and he's playing really well. Hopefully it stays that way.
I mean, it was very obvious to see how healthy he was early in that game. The first drive for the Packers, Quan was in on 2 of the stops, and one of them ran across the whole field to prevent a guy from getting the first down. I mean, he was great. But look, man, Zach Bond ended up being tied for the team leading tackles. I mean, he was also kind of all over the field when put out there. So, I mean, you just got more depth now at the linebacker position, and that's a positive. I thought Marcus Davenport, for what it's worth, he will be back sooner than later. He did have a pectoral injury. They did an MRI today. It was a pectoral strain. Ian Rappaport reporting that. So he should be back sooner than later, and that's good because Marcus Davenport had a great day yesterday. He had 2 tackles for loss, and one of them was a sack. We had talked a lot during the preseason, Mario, that he was really flashing, but whenever he finally gets home on some of those sacks, and he finally did it yesterday. And look, you hope he's not going to be out for a lot of time because it finally looks like the Marcus Davenport we've heard all about and been wanting to see.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reports that is a pectoral sprain for Marcus Davenport. We'll see how much time he misses, not an exact timetable, but it seems to be good news for the New Orleans Saints, and it could have been something serious, something potentially season-ending. So good news for Marcus Davenport, good news for the New Orleans Saints, who start the season 1-0 after a 38-3 blowout victory over the Packers. Before we go to break, just a quick note that I thought was really interesting. Over the weekend, we saw record betting numbers for the NFL in Week 1, and obviously this is becoming legalized in a lot of states around the country, and to ours, including ours to an extent here in September. But GeoComply is a company that provides geolocation services to sportsbooks, and they tracked over 58.2 million online transactions, that took place Thursday through Sunday. So that's a 126% increase from the same period of last year. So a lot of people getting into the wagering in the NFL, and that's those are record numbers. Those are big numbers.
And as it says here, that's not in all 50 states. That's in 18 states and Washington, D.C.
Wow.
58.2 million just in 18 out of 50 states and Washington, D.C.
And it's becoming legalized in more places.
That number's only going to continue to grow.
Yes, it will. Mario Jerez alongside Matt Musso here on a Monday edition of Early Line. We'll come back, recap Week 2 in college football, recap Week 1 in the NFL a little bit further, and look at some betting trends. This is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. We'll give you our SEC power rankings, check in on Saints practice, and it's Shark Week for the Tigers. We'll talk about LSU and Central Michigan. Hunt and Hill, noon to 2 weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're getting the early line with Mario and Musso on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on a Monday, September the 13th. Recap the betting weekend here, Mario. Both of us with a winning week. Also, go ahead and get you a couple of early lines. The new lines are out for college football week number 3 and as well as NFL football. NFL football is redundant. NFL lines out for week 2 as well. Mario, I went 3-2-1 over the weekend in our 6 picks, 2-0 on the underdog plays of the week. So that now makes 4 straight in that. Let's see the winners. Vandy was one of the underdog plays.
Hey.
They covered the +7, won outright at Colorado State. And the Eagles +3.5 on the road at the Atlanta Falcons. They won outright there 32-6 and just humiliated what is, not surprisingly, a very bad Atlanta Falcon defense. Also had Michigan -7. They stomped Washington. We told you, look, Washington, you lost to an FCS team. You have problems. You were also going to be without 4 of your playmakers on offense. Again, you're struggling on the offensive line. You're struggling at quarterback. It to go on the road to Michigan was not a good spot for them, and they lost that game 31-14. The losses, Arkansas just absolutely destroyed the Texas Longhorns. I think it was definitely possible that Texas could lose that game, that Texas wouldn't cover in that game. I picked them to cover, but it was always possible that they didn't. I think the outcome you saw was the most unlikely of the outcomes, where Arkansas won the game by 20 points. I mean, it was just never even really that close. So congratulations to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Then I had Mac Jones and the Patriots -3.5. That was a outright loss for them, as the Dolphins won that one 17-16. And the tie was Detroit +8. They lost by 8. And that was them coming back. I mean, they were down, I believe, 41-17 or something, and they came back within the last 3-4 minutes of that game to get it to 8. Just couldn't get under the number, so had to push there. 3-2-1 week, a winning week, 2-0 on the underdog plays of the week to bring that total to 4-0, 8-6-1 overall on the year so far, NFL and college combined.
Good job, man. This past week, I went 4-2. We had a 4-2 week, including 3-1 in our Friday picks and 1-1 with underdogs. We do the weekly underdog segment. So since week 0, I am 10-5 total. And this week, again, 3-1 on our Friday picks, and UGA -22.5 destroyed UAB in that one. And I knew that the health of JT Daniels was a question mark going into that one. But like I said on the show Friday, that didn't matter because Georgia's running backs are amazing. Their defense is amazing. And Stetson Bennett is at least a guy that has experience. He went in and played really well. So Georgia is just on a mission this year. And UAB, again, is a good team. They're going to be a good team. We might talk about their point spread against Tulane down the road a little bit. But Georgia is just on a mission this year. They're going to destroy every lesser caliber team that they play, and that's what happened here.
Stetson Bennett was at 1.5 for 5 for over 250 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Jeez, efficiency. Again, Jameis Winston-like. Kentucky -5 versus Missouri. The Wildcats win by a touchdown in this one. Withstand a late comeback from Missouri, and Chris Rodriguez was a story in this one. A career-high 27 carries, and he had 2 touchdowns in this game. 149 yards. He dominated in this one. Their defense played well in spots, although Missouri kind of gave them all they could handle, but I like Kentucky to cover here. We'll see if they can challenge Georgia and or Florida, but this was a big win for the Wildcats at home against Missouri. The one play we did lose this week on our Friday picks was the Bills -6.5 versus the Steelers. The Steelers defense is still really good, despite some losses that they have on that unit there. Big Ben didn't need to do too much in this one. In the same way we were talking about the Saints, that kind of needs to be the Steelers' formula for success. And their defense performed a lot better than I thought they would, limiting Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and those guys at just 13 points. So the Steelers win outright against the Buffalo Bills. We did not get the win there. And then Texans +3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans were underdogs in this one, Musso, but honestly, I do not think they should have been. And I get that the Texans have had the worst offseason of everybody, but Urban Meyer in his first spot as an NFL head coach with a rookie quarterback playing an experienced quarterback like Tyrod Taylor, who played really well. I did not like the promise there. I liked Houston to cover and win outright, and that's just what they did. Real quick with our underdogs, the Jets +4 at the Panthers almost got there. They had a chance to cut this deficit to 3 by going for 2. A Zach Wilson pass fell incomplete. They did not get there, losing by just 5 points, 19-14. That was the one loss for our underdog segment. But the one win we did get, Musso, was the Arkansas Razorbacks +2.5 at home against the Texas Longhorns, and those inferior athletes from Arkansas really whooped up on the superior athletes
They did?
From Texas, especially in the trenches and close to the line of scrimmage. They hold Bijan Robinson to a very nice 69 rushing yards after he went for 171 against Texas the week before. He was hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on 10 of his 21 rushes. The Razorbacks were just a much more physical team. Their crowd was really pumped up. It was the first sellout in Fayetteville since 2017. And I kind of had a good feeling that the emotions of Texas winning that first game, playing really well against ULL, and then Arkansas coming out a lot slower against Rice. I thought Texas would kind of be in a letdown spot, whereas Arkansas would play a lot better, get some guys back, which they did. They destroy the Texan Longhorns 40-21. And Texas, fun fact, has lost at least one of their first 3 games every year since 2014.
That was a huge win for Arkansas, especially with their quest to at least get to 6 wins this year because they have an absolutely brutal schedule. A couple of interesting numbers from betting around college football in week 2. These come from Brad Powers. Favorites, man, they were dominant. 72-10 straight up. Also had a winning record against the spread. Did favorites at 42, 37, and 3. Overs, Mario, overs went 42 and 40. So the overs had the edge this past week. And you saw some top 10 teams struggle. Of course, Ohio State losing outright to Oregon as a 2-touchdown favorite. Better than a 2-touchdown favorite, actually. Texas A&M, a top 5 team, struggled on the road at Colorado. Lost Haynes King. He'll be out to at least October. And, man, the backup, Calzada, I think is his name. Or Calzada, he's not good. Mm-hmm. And Notre Dame struggled mightily at home against Toledo, but did end up pulling out the win. Some big outright upsets over the weekend, too. Duquesne, they were 28.5-point underdogs. They defeated the Ohio Bobcats. Jacksonville State, 27.5-point underdogs, and then beat Florida State 24-7. It wasn't even enough to ruin a proposal by a Florida State offensive lineman that night. Stanford was +17. They destroy USC, and then we mentioned Oregon at +14.5, beating Ohio State outright on the road in the Horseshoe. A couple of lines to keep an eye on already as they've opened up. We gave you LSU +20.5. They opened that up against Central Michigan. Penn State opens as a 6-point home favorite against Oregon. Cincinnati opens as a 3-point road favorite against Indiana this weekend as well. If you're curious about UCLA and Fresno State, that's their next game. We've talked a lot about Fresno State on the show. The Bulldogs just a 11.5-point underdog on the road in Pasadena. There are some massive spreads in the NFL this weekend, though, Mario. -12.5. That is the Cleveland Browns hosting the Houston Texans. -12.5. Green Bay -10.5 hosting the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football next week. And there was one more that I need to find. I believe it was the Chiefs in the NFL next week who had one of the other larger spreads. It was 12.5 as well.
While you look for that, I'll just say double digits in any division game is nuts.
Well, here you go. It wasn't the Chiefs. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -12.5 hosting the Atlanta Falcons. 3 spreads on a Monday for week 2 in the NFL that already are double digits. So we'll have plenty more to talk about that with Rafael Esparza tomorrow when he joins the show. We'll grab a break, come back. Tyler Moody will join us, close it out, get you some baseball plays for tonight's slate. Stick around. It's Early Line, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
The Early Line. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU McNeese and hear from Ed Ogeron, and we'll talk Saints and Packers. Join us Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Time to wrap up a Monday show with some Major League Baseball talk and some MLB picks. For that, we welcome on Tyler Moody, as we do every day. Tyler, how are you? How was your weekend?
Things are good, guys. You know, really, we had the NFL, college football rolling this weekend, so
kind of turned my eyes away from baseball just a little bit to watch some football. But, man, you really can't beat this time of the year.
I'll tell you what, though, man, the last time you gave us some picks, that was Friday, and those picks came back 3-1. The Reds' money line versus St. Louis, Royals' money line as well, and Dodgers and Padres hit under 8. So you ended the week with us on a very strong note there, Tyler.
Went 3-1 there, went 5-2 this weekend with the football picks as well. So, yeah, things are clicking along. I don't do much on the college ranks because I don't watch it as much. But when it comes to the NFL, usually feel pretty good about it.
As you should. And today, before we get into our picks, Tyler, I do have one question about a prop bet for tonight, and it involves Yu Darvish over 5.5 strikeouts for the Padres at the San Francisco Giants at minus 125 odds. And the Giants have struck out against right-handed pitching a lot this season. They have the 6th worst strikeout rate against right-handers at this point. And Darvish has not played very well since the All-Star game. But, Tyler, that also means he might be due. And this is the lineup that he did well against earlier in the season. And we should note that Yu Darvish has hit the over on these strikeout props in 2 out of the last 3 starts he's made since returning from the DL back in August. So what do you think of over 5.5 strikeouts for Yu Darvish at the San Francisco Giants tonight?
He looked really good in his last outing. I thought that outing against the Angels, which I actually happened to watch most of that game, he looked like the old Yu Darvish. Now, he was coming off one of his worst starts of the season right before that, so it's hit or miss. But I think Yu Darvish getting to 6 strikeouts is definitely in play today. Yeah, I think you could take the over there.
What else you looking at tonight, Tyler?
Let's start with the St. Louis Cardinals because Adam Wainwright is on the hill, and I don't know if anybody can beat this man right now. Every time you turn around, Adam Wainwright is taking care of business. He's been the best pitcher, one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball for this entire season from a fantasy perspective. Been a really good year for him. So we're going to take the St. Louis Cardinals money line minus 122 against the New York Mets. Now, Francisco Lindor and the Mets played really well last night.
Yeah, they did.
He looked really good. Took care of business against those hated Yankees, those terrible Yanks. The Mets taking care of business there, but I think you'll see a bounce. Things will go the opposite direction with Wainwright on the hill tonight. Taking the St. Louis Cardinals minus 112 on the money line.
All right, so to recap really quick, he likes St. Louis money line minus 122 against the Mets. And do you have the rest of those picks in front of you, Musso?
Yeah, we're the Miami Marlins against the Washington Nationals. The Marlins money line minus 110. Sandy Alcantara is on the hill. He has an 8-13 record this season, but he's got an ERA just above 3. He's really been a good pitcher. Obviously, the Marlins lineup is not very good, but hey, neither are the Nationals. So I like the Marlins stay in this game on the money line right there. That's at minus 110. And then the final game that I had for you guys is the Boston Red Sox minus 1.5 against the Seattle Mariners. You can take the money line here if you would like. They're minus 130 on the money line. I'm going ahead and taking minus 1.5 to get it up to plus 123. So we're going to take the Boston Red Sox minus 1.5. And if you're looking for something, J.D. Martinez hit the home run tonight.
All right. Hey, we like that. We'd love that. Matt, you mentioned Francisco Lindor. How about that? He hit 3 homers last night on 3 different pitches. He had a curveball out, a changeup out, and a fastball out. That's seeing the ball really well.
He struggled mightily early on in the season. Everybody was questioning what's wrong with Lindor. Sometimes this just happens to these guys. He is locked in as of late. I'll be honest with you guys, Francisco Lindor beat me in the fantasy championship last night. It was one of the main reasons that I lost this week. So I've got a little extra hatred for Lindor right now, but man, he's locked into the place.
It's all good, Tyler. I'm not celebrating Jamar Chase's success as much as everybody else today for a similar reason in fantasy football.
I feel it. And that's what's so funny about sports, especially when you have multiple teams and you got multiple bets. Like something positive is also going to be a negative for you in some ways. It's just you got to just learn to roll with it and enjoy sports for what they are.
Tyler Moody giving us some baseball picks as he does every day. Tyler, sorry for cutting you off there, and have a great evening, man.
All good, boys. Y'all be well.
Later, man. St. Louis money line minus 122 versus the New York Mets. Miami Marlins, their money line minus 110 versus the Washington Nationals. And the Boston Red Sox minus 1.5 versus the Seattle Mariners. Those are Tyler's picks for tonight. Quick thought on Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase?
They're going to take over the NFL.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, Jamar Chase, he can't catch, guys. Five receptions on 7 targets, 100 yards, and a touchdown.
We love it.